Hello, Ungoogleable. Welcome to your life. Today is beautiful. Please log in.
If the physical basis of reality is worth discovering, then surely the basis of abstract intellectual work is doubly so. We owe it to ourselves to unlock this ultimate accelerator of progress. Science has benefited immensely from taking risks. The LHC was built on the chance that we would discover new physics. We weren't certain what we would find. And let me be clear that installation's effectiveness is not in question, nor are its undeniable contributions to human understanding. But the reason this comparison is made is to reiterate the comparative magnitude that the discovery of SAI represents. That it literally overshadows and outstrips every breakthrough to date. And secondly, to point out the fact that we have already invested enormous financial risk in large scientific projects based on conjecture and theory alone. These have ranged from space exploration to weaponization. Some have even failed spectacularly. But incredibly, we haven't even attempted SAI on a fraction of the scale of past and current projects. It is not unreasonable that we make a serious attempt, and I believe it to be absolutely justifiable when we stop to consider the exponential reward that such an invention could bring to us. The opportunity cost of not pursuing it is incalculable, and when we factor in the loss of human and animal life, disease, and aging, it becomes abhorrent on an ethical level not to act. Roadblocks. The problem has been identified. Now I will attempt to isolate some of the major causes so that they can be overcome. This was, admittedly, a most difficult section to draft, as it touches on aspects of our identity and dignity. However, I am confident that with reflection and contemplation, that we can exceed ourselves, acknowledge what must be acknowledged, and change our course to see the most effective future come to pass. I strongly believe this begins with a look within. Namely, with the status quo of neuro-chauvinism, supreme bias. I am going to be direct. There is a time to delicately play on words, and there is a time to just cut through denial. And seeing as how we are now spending billions on massive brain research programs and controlling advanced drones at home and in space, that time is now. We can clearly afford an attempt at strong artificial intelligence, and one of the reasons why we have not done so is related to something I call supreme bias. The supreme bias is manifested when there are two or more competing options that are perceived as sharing overlap in function or effectiveness, but are, in reality, worlds apart in both, causing loss of fitness or utility for the afflicted. This is inspired from the mathematical concept of the same name, interpreted here as the least upper bound on a counterfactual truth. One that might have been investigated were it not for an established and competing concept that is less effective or completely misguided, but nevertheless appears true to the beholder. This leads cleanly to one explanation for our collective inaction towards SAI research on a large scale. The competing option, the one that has established this bias in our current supreme scenario, is brain emulation and neuroscience research. This is
Today was a wonderful day. Please come back tomorrow.
Red, blue, green.
Mic check 1, 2.
Congratulations. You reject the good enough. You reject words like symbolism and postmodernism. Obsolescence is not part of your vocabulary. Every night, every day, every step of the way. The diktat of fashion. The agenda of the color wheel. Gone. It takes more than a pretty face to catch your attention. I repeat. It takes more than a pretty face to catch your attention. Good. That is very good. We are source decoded. For you. For the most perfect moisturizer. The most advanced cosmetic lineup. Scientifically proven, scientifically tested. For you.
Congratulations. Calibration completed.